Hi, I'm Shine, and this is Divine Shine Tarot with a CelebriTEA reading on Taylor Swift's new album, Life of a Showgirl. How does Taylor feel about the backlash and criticism this album received? In this clip from my live stream, let's see what the cards have to say. Remember, these readings are for entertainment purposes only. No facts, no truth, just tarot. Timestamps are down below, and let me know your thoughts in the comments. Hit that like button and leave me suggestions for readings you'd like to see from me in the future. Now, I ask that the spirits step forward to divinely guide my vision and messaging for this CelebriTEA reading. Let's get started. So, of course, as I said at the top of the stream, Taylor Swift dropped her new album on Friday, and to many people's surprise, a lot of the Swifties are not loving it. So tonight we're going to look into how Taylor Swift is taking the backlash of her new album, and also if there's any update on how Travis may be feeling about her current fiance. They are expected to go down the aisle within the next year, one would assume, maybe even sooner, since a lot of the other pop girlies, like Demi, in May of this year, she got married. Selena Gomez just got married a couple weekends ago, and it seems like Taylor is next in line. So we will look to see what the cards have to say about that. But found out, or the internet streets say, that Travis Kelce, Taylor Swift's current fiance, may have hollered at Meg Thee Stallion back in the day. And then I went down a rabbit hole and found out that the kind of girls that he used to date before Taylor are a type that's very different from Taylor, who he's with now. So because of some of the content in Taylor Swift's album, I don't know the name of the song, but there's something about opal, opalite, and onyx, perhaps being able to point to the pattern of melanation that we've seen in some of Travis Kelce's exes. It seems like all of those worlds are colliding, and that's why I mentioned the background on Meg in the intro, to keep a record of all this pop culture overlap. So let's see. I think we should start with the biggest lady of the night, Miss Taylor Swift. There were so many questions and reactions to her new album called Life of a Showgirl. Many of her Swifties, her very loyal and large fan base, were disappointed, which I'm not familiar with her music, so I don't really know how different it is from what she's released in the past. I know Shake It Off, I Can't, that's what people say. And I know, and Baby Now We Got Bad Blood, but I believe those are really old songs. So I don't know how different her current music is to what she's released in the past, to, get a better understanding of what could be the discrepancy between what her fan base expected and what they actually got. I only heard like a little bit on the short that I released to tease this live stream. So will be interesting to see what the cards have to say about maybe why was this album so disappointing, or the most common request in your comments was, let me look at my notes here. It says, how does Taylor feel about the backlash to her latest album? So let's ask that question first, and then some other questions that I also have here. Viewers requested, how does Travis feel about Taylor? I guess the last reading that I did was a general energy check between Taylor and Travis, because they had just gotten engaged at that time. So now we can look at it from a different perspective. How does Travis actually feel about Taylor? And how does Taylor feel about her actress friend, Blake Lively? I'll link both readings on the screen for those watching these clips later. So let's get started. Spirit, how did Taylor Swift feel about the backlash to her album? I mean, I imagine she doesn't feel too bad, since she sold like 4 million, I think they said, or close to 4 million. It's not much to cry about. So let's see what the cards have to say. Okay, too many fell out. Let me just see, just in case it comes back out. 4 of Swords. Looks like she's resting easy. This could indicate that she is unbothered. But let's see if I give it let me actually give it a good riffle shuffle here. Just to re-energize the deck. Ooh, there we go. Okay. Spirit, how does Taylor Swift feel about the backlash to her new album? Let's get some cards out here for Taylor Swift's feelings or energy at this time around her new album. Okay, did something flip over here? Let's see. Okay. So we have the World card in reverse. Making sure you guys can all see it. World card in reverse. So this could represent the internet. Let me just move this here. I can't even see my screen. Okay. World card in reverse. So she understands that the internet didn't receive it well, but maybe she's just thinking there is like internet world and real world, because real world actually bought the album. Again, she sold about 4 million. So it's not, it's very far from a failure. I mean, most albums these days barely can make it past 200,000, much less 1 million. So she is doing excellent and maybe compartmentalizing the feedback. Like the internet tends to allow the negativity to be louder than those that maybe are just neutral or find her music to just be as satisfactory as always. Then we have the Knight of Wands. Wait a second. This could indicate some frustration. This could indicate a scattered energy or a sense of chaos that perhaps Taylor is considering that she may have approached this album in a rush or too soon. Maybe she could be thinking, gee, if I would have taken a little more time to massage this or finesse this or, bring out this idea, it may have had a different reception. But this card is now kind of changing the perception I had from the first one. Let's continue here. Four of Cups. So this is a sense of detachment after a period of reflection on something that was meaningful to someone, a period of reevaluation. You're now assessing that I actually don't need that anymore. So looking at this series of cards, it's looking like Taylor may feel like she doesn't need the favor of the internet opinions anymore. She understands that people will be passionate about their opinions and their ideas, and especially online, but she kind of doesn't care with this Four of Cups in reverse. She is detached from that. And I wonder if that means that she just threw this album out there to satisfy a requirement for her label. Maybe she just had to get it out there to meet a quota, depending on what her contract is with them. Maybe she has to have a certain amount of albums within a certain amount of time. And so she's like, well, whether they like it or not, I did what I had to do. So she seems to be unbothered or detached from the aftermath, the blowback, the backlash. Let's continue here. Oh yeah, she is confident and bold. Big fire sign energy. She is saying it with her chest, basically, that she's cool with this album. She loves it. She's confident about it. The Queen of Wands is very courageous. She's outgoing. She's warm, joyful. This card indicates that Taylor is very pleased and powering forward, whether people like the album or not. She feels really good about it, according to this Queen of Wands card. She's actually even fired up and energized if this Queen of Wands card is accurately depicting her energy. She, again, seems to feel good about getting this off of her plate or satisfying this requirement to put that album out there, whether people like it or not. Let's see. My piles got mixed here. Let me have a look at both, because I forget which pile was. It looked like they were kind of overlapping. So here we have the 10 of Pentacles, and it's in reverse. So that speaks of some sort of failure to a long-term financial goal or wealth building. This could be lack of resources or, again, any sort of financial challenges, which it's hard to believe if she has sold so many copies that would mean that they fell short of their expectations. It seems like she's hitting the mark for what's expected of Taylor Swift. But perhaps this is stating that indeed the motivation behind releasing this album was financial, that she just needed to satisfy a debt, perhaps a long-term contract or debt that she had with her label, her management team. I'm not in the music industry, so I forget the terms, but it seems like, again, this is about recouping this long-term financial expectation. This came out of this pile, the Devil. I'm not going to accept this one because it seems like I may have just knocked it over when I was reading the earlier cards. Let's get a few more out here. For those of you just joining us, we are in the middle of a reading about Taylor Swift's reaction to the backlash that she received for her recent album. So here we have the Queen of Cups. Yeah, so this is actually continuing with the idea of the Four of Cups that we got here. This is perhaps a lack of compassion or a lack of emotional investment. Detachment, again, we keep getting emotionally detached. Or this could also mean emotional insecurity, emotional immaturity, but it seems like this is saying this wasn't a passion project for Taylor. She kind of just had to put it out there to satisfy some obligations, it seems. The Magician in reverse. So this indicates someone who may be manipulative or someone that may not be taking advantage of all of their resources, which we saw some indication of that here in the 10 of Pentacles. So I wonder if this is trying to say that Taylor didn't get to work with who she wanted to work with on this project. Maybe because it was done in a rush, like she did this album in a rush. I believe in some of her press run interviews for this album, she said that this album was about the behind the scenes of after she'd come off stage, what it was like for her. The cover of the album is her in the bathtub wearing, glittery, costumey stuff. And it's her basically, I think they said that she was running back and forth to Sweden to record some of this album while she was touring in Europe. So her rushing to get it done may have limited who she could have worked with on this project. So this idea of limited or lack of resources and not using the full range or the full breadth or the full assortment, the complete arsenal of potential resources. In this case, it would be the people that she could have worked with, the potential producers, the potential writers. Because it was so rushed, she may have cut her options short, or maybe there's something behind the scenes that didn't allow her to work with the people that she's worked with before. Maybe there could have been a creative change in direction that she either wanted to explore or had to explore for, again, some sort of obligation with her label or management team and whoever plans what's to come next for Taylor. Interesting. I didn't expect to see that. And then we have the Six of Cups here. So this indicates a sort of nostalgia, returning back to something that someone loved, something or someone that someone loved or misses or is yearning for. Swifties, if you guys are in this live, tell me, does this music, is it reminiscent of anything she did in the past? Because it sounded like a lot of the backlash was because it was a bit of a departure from what is usually heard from her. For those of you that do listen to her music, this Six of Cups, this returning back to a time or a place of nostalgia of something that someone missed, it doesn't seem to align with the current opinion or backlash that the album received. It seems like she must have done something different. Or maybe she did return to something in the past that, because it's such a distant past, I think this is a double-digit album for her. She's just been doing music for so long. I guess maybe people have forgotten that this is the sound that she perhaps explored earlier on in her career. The Six of Cups. Let's actually try to get some clarification on that Six of Cups, because I'm not seeing how that aligns. Oh, the Emperor in reverse. Okay, so Emperor in reverse, for those of you that are watching it on the red app, let me just give you the full visual. Emperor in reverse. So this is going against the business. So maybe, again, there was a conflict, a creative conflict, where Taylor wanted to go in one direction and her business machine, again, she's big business. Taylor Swift is big business. You're selling an album that people apparently don't like, and it's doing 4 million. That's big business. So her machine, her team, her label or management, they wanted to go in one direction while Taylor wanted to go in another. Maybe it is something that she's always wanted to do, and the business wanted her to go elsewhere, but ultimately the business is still winning. I mean, she's with UMG, right? She's with, what's the name? Starts with R, Republic, which is also the same label that Drake is with. And they were actually under fire for a while because Drake was suing them for a defamation case / something to do with his contract renegotiation. But Drake's another big money artist for that Republic UMG label. And with that kind of risk and financial pressure at play, I'm sure that Taylor's album was really important to the business. We can think of this representing UMG along with her personal management team and all of the stakeholders that help plan all of Taylor's music and business moves. It was very important for them for this album to do well while that legal pursuit from Drake was advancing. And recently that Drake lawsuit actually got dismissed. So I'm sure it's like it's 2 W's for UMG where they got a big bag with Taylor, big money with this, all of the sales that this new Taylor Swift album did, as well as having the relief of that Drake lawsuit currently not proceeding, although they might try to appeal. I still would like to get just a little more clarity on this reading. So let's just pull out a few more, Spirit. Let's continue to see how Taylor Swift feels about the aftermath of her recent album to conclude this reading. Hi, Suni. Thank you for the follow. Come on in. It is high vibrational in here. Did this want to come out? Oh, wait a second. Interesting. The Seven of Pentacles in reverse. So this could indicate someone contemplating their investment. Let me show it to you guys upright first. Seven of Pentacles is someone reflecting or reevaluating their original investment. And in reverse, it indicates that they feel that there may be something wrong, where they may need to make a change in order to get the outcome that they want. Like the investment may not be going as planned. There's some sort of reconsideration, reallocation of budget or funds or investing in Taylor Swift. Interesting. I wonder if that means that because the finances around this album were high stakes or important, it would indicate where her label or management team would continue to invest or divest in the future, because this card would indicate something about divesting, taking money out of this to put it in that instead. I wonder if that also means that the reception of the album or something to do with the business on the back end that we don't even know about is why she wouldn't tour with the album, because in some of the interviews that she's done, she said touring's not even on her mind, that she's so tired from her recent tours and that she's just releasing the music, and it just so happened to coincide with the time that she announced her engagement. Let me pull a few more cards here. Ooh, wait a second. Five of Cups. This indicates a sense of disappointment, a sort of grief for some loss. Although one still has things of value in their life, there's a dwelling on a loss here. I wonder what that could be. Usually with the Suit of Cups, that's something emotional, but it could also just be having to do with something creative, something of value and significance and importance to someone. So we are again getting indications of mixed desires between what Taylor wants in her life at this time versus what the business wants at this time. And maybe Taylor feels a sense of pressure, and that's where this somewhat of a sorrowful energy is coming from, of like, gee, here we go again, and have to deal with the pressure of expectations, not only around this album, but of what the business would want me to do with what they've invested in me and in this. And people constantly asking about the touring, when I just want to focus on the more heartfelt things in my life, like her personal life. Interesting. Let's get a final card out here. Yeah, there is an illusion of a lot of choices or options in Taylor's life at this time, where she would probably want to take advantage of this or that, or try this, try that, not necessarily knowing if it will be better or worse off. But it seems like Taylor wants a change with this Seven of Cups in reverse. Taylor Swift seems to want to change. I don't know if that means a change in her label, if that means a change in her lifestyle. She definitely has been hitting it hard with the music. I mean, the Eras tour and the music and all the versions of the albums that she releases, she's just been on the tip of everyone's tongue for years. So it doesn't seem that she's really taken a break musically. Maybe that is part of this Six of Cups that we saw here, this nostalgia, this longing to return to simpler times, comforting times, a change in priorities that it seems that she would prefer to have, instead of this pressure to keep this business machine pumping, especially since she feels that she's actually satisfied her requirements, her quota, her obligations to the business. But there is some sort of dissatisfaction here still from the people that represent or work with Taylor Swift's business. There is probably a lot of demands and pressure still put on Taylor, while she is likely looking to transition into a different stage in her life. Interesting. Okay, so we'll leave that there. In the future, we can always pull out more cards to do a deeper dive, as you all know, since this is my second reading on Taylor Swift. What do you guys think, Swifties? Did you like the album? Do you think the backlash online is just like a small army of haters that just were really loud this time around? Or do you also see some change, some disappointment in the quality of music or the content of music? I don't really know Taylor's music like that, so I don't know what exactly people were so dissatisfied with, but would be interesting to know what you guys think in the comments. Now, let me look at my notes and switch over to whatever the next topic is. Let's see. Oh, the question here was, how does Taylor really feel about Blake Lively? And will Blake and Ryan stay married? So this is, again, speaking of Blake Lively and Ryan Reynolds. I thank you all so much for your beautiful contributions and your shiny energy. You are the best part of the live stream. So thank you, chat. Thank you to my beautiful shiny audience. I wish you all abundance and illumination. May divine light radiate through your life. Keep shining. Thank you. Bye. Have a good night. Thank you.